suspenders on him
Oh.
came completely out of a joke. I was like sending a picture to my friend of this panel. And I was like, "Oh, I really like how this panel's turning out." And then I said, "Wouldn't it be so funny if I gave him suspenders?" And then I did, and then I liked it, so I just kept it in.
No, I feel like he's killing it. He's killing the suspender look.
It's sort of it gives him a bit of like a goofy vibe, but I think it fits with his character.
For the eyes, like these little scars, that have to do with like the tears, like if he cries, like it scars his face. Is that what that is?
Yeah,
Or just
yeah.
okay, that's what I thought. Oh, is that
Yeah,
like
and I
this?
remember
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I remember, one of Ranboo's streams, he ended it with one of the little graphics that he uses of, like, the smiley face, but,
Yeah.
just one of them, and I remember looking at one of them, it might have been red or something, but I was looking at it and being like, "Oh, shoot, I think I'd have a lot of fun with, like, representing his emotional, like, character's trauma or issues, with having his eyes be just completely redded out with, like, tears." So that's not like that was just like a really personal sort of spur of the moment, "Oh, that'd be cool." But, I think it turned out nice. I don't know, I like how it looks.
No, that's cool. Just like the quick, like little transition too again.
Yeah,
Like
and then,
on
like,
the
Ranboo.
beat, on the beat too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, and that sort of worked because the lyrics for that is, like, leafless treetops in the snow, views of death and bitter cold. So I was like, "Ooh, Snowchester moment, perfect."
Oh wait, yeah.
Portal. If you pause it, there you can actually see the portal, like, cutting through his leg in the back there,
Oh,
and then it
yeah.
goes through. That was so much fun to animate. I don't know why.
It was just fun, like just.
Yeah, just mapping that out. I don't know.
Yeah, you could definitely see it.
Yeah, and these panels are very the music's really building here, right? So I wanted to build the tension by sort of slowly introducing the viewer to the inside of the prison, like what's
Yeah,
going on inside there. So he steps through the portal, he signs his name in the book, and then this scene, um, when you go into the prison, you have to put the key card in the ender chest,
yeah.
and in his ender chest is a lot of important items, including the discs. So that's what's going on here. Is he's putting the key card in, and then at the same time acknowledging the discs, all three of them in his ender chest finally. Um, and just some of them are like blood stained or just they've been through a lot, that's for sure.
Yeah. For the third one, did you just kind of do this like? So I see like you can clearly see the first two, but then like the third one kind of like pops in. Is that just kind of like what was that about?
Yeah, in this case, it's because the third disc is actually there. It's just underneath the other two, and you can't see it.
Okay. It would
Which
just be
was sort
tough
of
to
obnoxious.
just tough to fit all three in with.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
I see
just
what you're
the
saying.
way the panel was structured, I couldn't find a great way to do it. But
This looks cool. Like this right here is really cool looking.
oh yeah, the lava coming down. Yeah, these panels. It's been so long since I worked on these panels that it's difficult for me to remember exactly what I was thinking with them.
Yeah.
It's been like 2 months.
Was it tough to figure out like how you wanted to make Sam? Because when you do these, you make him like a much more like, human looking. Obviously, Sam's just this creeper. Was it like tough to think of a design, or was it not that troubling to figure out?
It was a little bit difficult. My process for making new character designs is I go on like Pinterest or Instagram and I look up other people's character designs and I just make a huge reference library of everything, and then I make a list of things that I like about character designs and things that I don't. And then I'll add some new twists on it. So my Sam design is mostly based on other people. So like the mask is a really common element, the trident and the hoodie. But where it diverges is I decided to give him I decided first of all to make his face really visible, like his eyes, because I needed him to be expressive. Like I feel like Sam is a bit underrepresented as a tragic character, like an emotional character.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things going on in his backstory, like how he was trapped in the egg. And
Yeah,
what
it's
was it? I
that.
think he like ate his own flesh.
Oh,
Which
I
is
forgot about
just
that.
so.
You're right. He
Oh
did
my god, it
eat
was
his
so
flesh.
dark.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then after that happens, he goes back to save Hannah from the egg
Yeah.
after all of this happened, and then Hannah betrays him
Yeah.
at the red banquet. So there's so much going on there. So I decided to give him like a really emotional character design, and I also made sure his armor and his trident were a bit artistic in how they were like there's like swirling lines a little bit, like the little gauntlets around his upper arm are a little bit like I don't know, they're ornate instead of like functional. And I did that so that I could emphasize him as a very human, a really human character. I felt like I don't see a whole lot of work, or at least not as much about the main cast that's as emotional that's tied to Sam. I'm sure there's a lot, but it's still like I really wanted to dig into that
No,
because it's super
yeah,
interesting.
Sam is one of those probably like has like the most connections like to different people in lore. I can't.
Yeah,
think of
he's
anyone
doing
that
so
has-
much.
Yeah, he features in like everyone's lore.
There's the egg lore, Tommy's main lore, and like it's awesome. And Rambo's lore too. He was in.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this bit.
Yeah, the puppet strings like still like having Dream attached to him.
Yeah, this was another. I originally thought that I wanted to have those 3 flashes be some of his canon deaths, but there were 3 of them, and if he had 3 canon deaths already, he'd be dead. So I wasn't sure. I basically had that like silhouette of him, and I went through with a red marker and just drew a bunch of different angsty sort of lines on it. And some of them worked and some of them didn't. So I kept the ones that worked and said, okay, these are going to be the flashes. So they're not exactly representative of specific events or anything in particular.
Yeah.
But they're just the ones that looked the best, in my opinion. So there's like the arrow in his head is the idea for the last one when he got shot
arrow.
At the standoff.
Oh, that's a really cool callback to that. Then I didn't even think
the
about
original
that.
shootout, and then the red strings that featured heavily in Desolate and Resolve, and then the first one I don't remember. Oh, it's the Shatter. It's like a cracked conscious.
Right.
If I had any if I was like fully awake while I was editing that, I might have changed the order to be like more in line with how the events actually happened. But honestly, I edited all of this or almost all of this in one 32-hour stretch, which was not my best move.
32 hours straight?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, you're nuts. You're nuts.
I don't know. I had a lot of fun with it. I also had an energy drink with me, so you do what you gotta do.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and then this bit, this is one of the things that I would change if I had a chance to redo it. I wanted to make it more evident that the explosion went off in the prison, because there actually is a small like sort of explosion sound effect that plays, but it got drowned out. And I wanted to make it more clear, but I didn't have enough time to like structure this in the way that I really wanted to.
Yeah.
Or at least I wouldn't give myself enough time because I wanted it to be.
Is that what that was supposed to be like, right there? Like that little shake? Was
Yeah.
that supposed to... Oh, I missed that.
Yeah,
detail.
and
I
that's
didn't think about
and you
that.
can see the moment of him being like, oh shoot, what the heck is going on here? And then some voice lines cut in. Oh yeah, so the sections of him talking, of Tommy talking, is from it's from 2 different streams, and it's 4 different clips from just completely separate times that he said these things. Which it doesn't sound like it is, so I consider that a win.
I thought it all kind of just sounded like I thought it was just all from like this scene, like when he got stuck in the prison.
Yeah, no, they're from completely different sections. And also in one of them, I don't remember which, Dream was eating a potato right in Tommy's right ear. And it was so loud. It was so incredibly loud. So I went through in what's it, Audacity, and I took out the right track entirely and just duplicated the left one and shifted it a little bit. So it sounds like there's 2, but it's actually just 1.
Oh man, don't even get people started on Dream's potato.
It's freaking. Oh yeah,
Did you think about using that, like using a potato, like, or would that just you think ruin the scene a little bit, like kind of?
I don't know if it would have had the same emotional impact if he was punching him with a potato.
No, because this is probably the most emotional scene coming up when he just starts getting the hell beat out of him.
Yeah, and see, I don't know. I was hesitant to use this song at first because I feel like it's super dark and edgy, and this is still, even though it's really intense storytelling, it's still a Minecraft roleplay thing, right? And it can be really emotional, but it's still like it's sort of funny. Just
you can still have fun with it, yeah. You
can still have fun with it.
Yeah.
But I decided in this animatic that I was just gonna lean in to all of the like weird, edgy stuff,
more darker
going
stuff
on. Like I wanted I went into this animatic with the intention of making people really sad. Like, that was my goal.
Well, yeah, like I said, if you didn't do it here coming up, I feel like Sam Nook really tugged at people's hearts. I remember that was just so sad, like just listening to that, like Sam Nook's like, oh, can't wait for Tommy to come back. Like, oh boy.
Yeah,
so
and
what made you decide to start using like a little bit more voice? Because like the first two, it was none, right? And then the third one at the very end, Wilbur spoke. And now this one you added like a little bit more in
like
the
a
middle.
bunch,
Yeah.
Yeah, so really, I sort of see that as a change in what I'm doing with the animatics. Like, the first one I ever made was pretty much like a slideshow music video or something.
Just like kind of like a montage more so than like trying to tell a whole story or...
Yeah, and in that case, the lyrics fit really super well. Like, I think Innocence was probably one of the best fitting songs that I've ever used. You know, just because of the first one I ever did.
I listened to that song so many times. Like, I've never heard that song, and I listened to it a lot after.
Yeah, but now the way that I'm making animatics has changed a little bit because I'm not only like mixing up songs, like there's 2 songs in this one. I'm also working with a bunch of different storylines, right?
Yeah.
So the first one was like one cohesive storyline. Desolate sort of started to branch. Resolve was just a mess. And then this one, I was sort of trying to differentiate what was going on, and I feel like the voice clips help break up the experience a little bit.
Okay.
And like, separate emotional beats. I'm not sure. I sort of use clips as they come up to me. Like, if I'm really moved by someone's performance,
that's
I'll use it.
How often like do you watch streams then? Like, if you know it's a lore stream, do you try your best then to be able to watch it?
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much tune into all streams that are associated with lore, and I usually take notes too. Like, I have a notebook. It's very strange. It's like I'm in class.
Prison Dream isn't real. He's got a goatee.
Oh yeah. Oh, I had so much fun designing Prison Dream. So I really wanted him to look really different than he did in the other animatics because his position has changed. Like, he's still in control of a lot of things, but at the same time, he's been in prison for like how many months? It's been so long.
Yeah, it's been a while now.
I don't know. Anyone's psyche would be changed from that. So at the end of Resolve, there's this little fracture in his mask that I implied he got from Tommy beating the crap out of him.
Yeah.
So I kept that in here because I'm assuming nobody would be kind enough to give him a new mask or whatever.
Oh no.
But I also had him lose the jacket, which was an interesting choice. I think, I don't know, when I associate someone who's been in prison for a long time, I definitely associate it with like being alone for so long can really strip down your like ideas in your head, like being isolated.
Yeah.
So I sort of decided to simplify his character a lot, but still have him have those scars. So like there's one on his shoulder.
Yeah, there. Maybe like right there.
Yeah, and there's still, and that's from Resolve. Like, I made sure the scars were consistent, which was a little annoying, but it was still fun. Yeah. Oh, and then that little end piece. So, if anyone goes and listens to the full song that I used, "The Darker the Weather, the Better the Man" by Missio, the song obviously doesn't end right there. So I like clipped it and added a bunch of reverb so that it sort of echoes out on that weird like breath sound.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
It sounds like a little bit of an inhale, and that like I love the tension that gave this
builds the
scene.
tension.
Yeah, like people watching the premiere probably had no idea what the heck I was gonna do with, with the project from there. Like, it just ends. They're like, what's going on? It's still going.
Yeah. And now here we go.
And then he sort of fades in. I wanted to make sure the mask showed up first, because that was like, you're like, oh, okay, what the heck is going on? And then he just gets
that, like I said, this builds like a little bit more tension. It's like, oh, there's Dream again. Like,
yeah, and there's this little effect going on in all of the scenes where Dream is attacking Tommy. It's called chromatic aberration. You can see it a little bit. It's like the RGB layers separated a little bit. I sort of use that as a tactic to show a bit of like derealization or like fear. It definitely adds a bit of an uncanny sort of vibe to the scene. Like, something's not quite right about it. Like, his reality is sort of misaligning for Tommy when he's getting, beat to death. I'd assume that would happen for anyone, but
yeah, just the way you did this whole scene is just so just I don't know if beautiful is the right word, but like
It's a bit tragic.
Yeah, like you just really capture this tragedy.
Yeah, so
go.
that
Let's kind of play
that
this
little
through
scene of
first,
Tommy,
and then
my idea with this section, I actually wanted it to be a bit disorienting to the viewer with these like fast cuts. So my main idea is that all of the scenes with Tommy and Dream in black and white and red is in the real world, and all the scenes with him colored and shattering is in the afterlife. So it's like switching rapidly back and forth. And that sort of came from my concept of losing consciousness as being a sort a sort of, I mean, it's the whole segment is just shattered. It's like broken, disparate segments stitched together.
This I thought was also
that was so
really
much fun.
This looked so cool, like this part right here.
Yeah, that was fun. Originally, he wasn't gonna. There's like a little bit of like broken shards that you can see reflected in the light, just a
right
little
there.
bit. It's subtle. It wasn't gonna be like that originally. It was just gonna be light behind him. But I was like, you know what? I could do something really cool with that, so I just did it anyway.
Wilbur.
Oh, this scene. So this, I would say that this section, this whole death segment, where the song changes, is probably one of my best storyboarded sections. When I made these storyboards, I was so excited about it. I would like made them, and I was just like,
yeah, you just wanted to get to work.
Oh
Just
my
wanted
gosh,
to...
this is gonna be awesome.
No, this really was. This was just so nuts watching this part.
Yeah, and that scene with Tommy seeing Wilbur for the first time. That one, I feel like before we, I actually storyboarded this scene before Tommy was resurrected, so I didn't know exactly what was going on.
Yeah.
But my interpretation of Wilbur as a character was really shaky at that point, because I don't know if Wilbur would have been happy to see Tommy, or
Oh yeah, I see what you're
angry
saying.
or like frustrated. So this scene is really ambiguous. Like you can tell that Tommy's just completely floored by seeing Wilbur, but Wilbur, he's got this little smirk, but you don't know if it's because he's like,
yeah, that works both ways. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just completely ambiguous, and you also can't see his eyes. There's no point where you can see Wilbur fully when he's in the afterlife. You don't see him until the very end. Yeah, and that's just sort of, and there's actually, you don't see anyone's eyes except for Tommy in the afterlife, because Mexican Dream has a mask.
Mexican
and
Dream,
Schlatt's
no.
covered. Mexican Dream. I had to include him. I couldn't.
No, it really was. Just, like I said, just a nice little detail, just a little call
Oh,
back to him.
this card. I saw a couple of comments the other day about the detailing on the card. I'll be honest, I put a little more detail into it than I probably needed to. I just really wanted it to be a beautiful card design. Some people were commenting like, I think those flowers are forget-me-nots, maybe. They're actually not any particular flower.
Oh, it was
they're just a random flower.
just a
but
nice design.
I accept the forget-me-not thing as canon. I'll accept that. That's a good interpretation. I like it better than my weird random design.
Did you by any chance like happen to make them blue just because like Ghost or Wilbur? Or that just kind of fit the color scheme of what you wanted?
Blue was sort of the idea. I was like, okay, I wanna tie a little bit to Ghostbur. But the thing about that color of blue is it's a very different shade of blue than I use for Ghostbur.
Like
so it's like, yeah, it's a little more, it's a little less purple. It's a little more like cyan colored. Just slightly, just a little difference. And then, oh, this part was fun. So I put so much detail in these freaking cards, and I had to Google how to play solitaire because I don't know. So I had to Google, how do you play solitaire? And I had to make sure these alignments were correct, right? Because someone was gonna be like, "That's not how you play solitaire." And then one other note about the cards is that the card that he's playing, the
Ten of Spades.
10 of Spades.
Yeah,
10 of Spades. I wanted the cards to represent something, but there's a lot of debate on what cards represent. Like you can use cards in place of tarot cards for reading, for I don't know, tarot readings, but you can also just associate meanings with the certain cards. So I went around and Googled, what do these cards mean?
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, and so I ended up on a page about like different card meanings. And the thing is, the internet is really contradictory on what cards mean. Like you'll Google like, what does 9 of Hearts mean, and you'll get 2 different answers from 2 different websites.
Yeah.
But these two that he's playing a 10 of Spades onto a Jack of Diamonds. And those two were pretty consistent across the internet. The Jack of Diamonds represents like a really intelligent but ultimately untrustworthy young man. Apparently, I don't know why.
Oh,
But I saw that and I was like, okay, that's totally Wilbur. And what he's
yeah.
playing on top of it is the Ten of Spades, which I believe is just a general card that means bad stuff. It's like death, hardship, trials, just nothing that you want. So he's I don't know. There's sort of a little bit of a meaning behind him playing that card on top of the Jack of Diamonds. The other cards mean nothing.
Okay,
They just
but so
make
you're
sense.
the main two
Yeah.
are kind of just see, that's just
Yeah.
awesome. Like that you would go like to that length just to add that little detailing, even though some people like myself, like I had no clue. I just thought I was like, okay, yeah, no,
Yeah,
cards, that's nice.
most people won't even care about it, but I just figured, if I'm gonna be drawing these cards and it's gonna take me forever, I might as well make them mean something. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm sort of
that's nuts.
yeah, I'm a little bit. I like doing symbolism. I'm not great at it, but I decided to try my hand at it with the cards. Yeah, and then that transition to the allium, um, there's a lot of back and forth in this section between what's going on in the real world and what's going on in the afterlife, and I needed super harsh contrast between like Wilbur's solitaire playing and what's
Yeah.
going on in the real world. So I decided to transition to the allium because both of those scenes have a lot of significance to them.
Mm-hmm.
Like Wilbur playing solitaire and those cards and their meaning. To the allium, I just figured it's not exactly like a tactful way to transition, but it definitely strikes you. Like it's something you'll seem like, whoa, okay, sudden change.
Was this like, I don't know if you had like a specific moment in mind, but is this like when Rambo is dropping off the allium like at Tommy's house, or is not really anything in particular? You just wanted that symbolism.
Yeah, this was the scene where Rambo went to Tommy's house after he died,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I think he like threw the allium on the ground or something.
yeah, yeah. And it was like, it was a pretty sad moment, like just letting it disappear.
Oh yeah, and then yeah, once it fades out, you can see the bench in the background and the
Oh, I
tower
don't
in the
think,
back.
yeah, I
So
don't think
he's
I noticed the little bench cat in the background.
yeah, so he's standing basically on Tommy's front steps, being all sad and stuff. Oh, and then this scene. So there's this really important, to me, important
Yeah,
piece of the lore where Ranboo is really just sort of going off at Sam, and you could tell it's like both of them are really emotionally damaged
yeah, he's kind of
by
like
what
looking
happened to
down,
Tommy,
like,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, because Sam is just crushed because he thinks he failed, and Ranboo is sort of going through the anger stage.
of grief,
And it's
yeah.
just yeah, he was like just really yelling at Sam, and you could tell that both of them were just really hurting about it. Yeah, so I decided to do just a simple shot reverse shot for this because it's
Yeah, just
most people are pretty familiar with that layout structure, and it gives you a chance to look at both of them and be like, whoa, this is affecting them really differently, but they're trying to work through it together, but obviously it's not exactly working out.
yeah. I was gonna say like this one, he's kind of looking like a little more like shameful, sad, and then this one's like more of like emotional anger, sad.
Yep, and then
This
Ranboo's
is
character. Oh,
okay. This is something. Like after I kind of watched it a second time, like how you did these clouds, like
oh yeah,
very much
so-
differently than like kind of how you were drawing them.
Yeah, the issue is that I wanted the scene to be moving,
Yeah.
but hand animating clouds, it's just such a pain. So what I ended up doing was I found some like free stock footage of like a sunny day passing and then a thunderstorm, and then I put this like painterly filter on it just so. And if you look closely, like if you're playing it in HD, you can tell that there's like brush strokes on it. Obviously, it doesn't match my style at all, but I kind of like how it ended up turning out.
Yeah, right there
that
was.
scene-
Yeah.
Oh my
so
gosh,
good.
I've never come so close to like actually shedding a tear over one of my own works. But when it was 4 a.m. and I was editing this section,
Yeah.
and I was like a little bit burned out and had a lot of caffeine in my system, I was looking at this scene. I was like, this is so sad. This is the saddest thing I've ever seen.
No,
in my life.
it's just like you captured it so well. Like the fact like Sam Nook like doesn't really move. Like he's just waiting. You know what I mean? Just like the good little worker he is.
Yeah, and there's that story of the dog who waited for its owner after they died at the
Oh, at the train
station.
station. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and people made a lot of comparisons to that. And